comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I just got back from a gig, and I can tell you this right now. The crowd were not fans of Le Boyle. That is for fucking sure. They were offended by every single thing I said. Everything I said was offensive, but they really did take offense to everything. They just pulled back on everything. It was like a young nerd crowd. These fucking youngsters, they just don't know how to have fun anymore. Fucking let your hair down. Laugh at some racism. Laugh at some autism. Laugh at some fatties. That's that's pretty much my fucking set list from tonight. I only did 7 minutes, and I managed to squeeze in racism, fatism, if that's a thing, and autism. Obviously, autism isn't a slander, but it is one of the isms now. Say no to racism, say no to sexism, say no to autism. Huh? Shut up, go stare at a wall. I understand though, the boy owl is not everybody's cup of tea. But I haven't had a crowd pull back on just about everything I said for quite some time. This is what happened to me when I started comedy in Sydney. Sydney wasn't very PC. Sydney was like loose. It's full of coke heads, it's full of like narcissists. So you could go pretty hard in Sydney and no one gave a fuck. So I developed a fucking set that was going pretty hard. And then I moved down to Melbourne, and I didn't even know what Melbourne was about back then. I was like, I'll just do what I do in Sydney down in Melbourne. And it worked like twice, and then I bombed for like 5 years. Because like fucking 5 years ago, Melbourne was the most PC fucking place in the world. It was so fucking annoying. You couldn't say anything. I know everyone says that you couldn't say anything, but you really couldn't say shit. Also, in fairness, I was less funny then, but still, the crowds were very fucking tender. Anyway, eventually Melbourne sort of fucking turned the corner. Most places in Melbourne don't give a fuck anymore. They're ready to get down and dirty. They want some of the fucking rough shit, which is good for me. But now I've left Melbourne and I'm up in Sydney, and Sydney seems to be the most PC place in Australia now. So it's switched, and I just go to the PC place again. Politically correct. It's not even everyone. It's just that fucking like 18, 19 to 23-year-old fucking Bachelor of Arts students. They're the worst. Just humorless cunts trying to fucking save the world, but they're not actually doing anything to save the world. They're the beige cunts Billy Connolly was yelling about all those years ago. The fucking beige brigade. In fairness to these cunts though, I did try a bit in the middle. A new bit, which I thought was fucking hilarious. I've been walking around the streets going over and over it for the last fucking few days, and I'm like, this is just fucking gold. And I did it on stage tonight. They didn't think it was that gold. And then I came home and ran it past my wife, and she's like, yeah, that's not funny at all. And I'm like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, nah. And I'm like, well, it's staying in. It's not going anywhere. It will be there at the Melbourne Comedy Festival on the 14th, the 16th, and the 23rd, regardless of whether it's getting laughs or not. I suppose it's more of an opinion. Nah, it didn't work, but it will work eventually. I don't know when eventually is, but just hang in there. It'll eventually work. That's the thing with comedy. You got to use up so many people just to eventually get something to work. Like, you've got to do a bit to hundreds of people, tens of people, dozens of people to get a bit working. Now they hate you. They never want to see you again. So you've burnt them completely. This is just to get one joke working. And then it works for like 3 or 4 times. Then you get sick of it. And then you throw it out. So you're burning on average 1,000 people to get one joke working that 18 cunts might enjoy before you throw it away. You're actually meant to couch the new bits in between old, tried and trusted material. So if the new material bombs, which you don't know if it's going to work or not, you've got a way out of it with the other shit. I was so confident in this bit that I was like, I'm just going to say g'day and just get straight into it. And then I was in so much shock it didn't work that I'm like, well, fuck you. You're getting the autism bit next. You wanted to pull back on that? Here's a little bit of disability for you. Anyway, it's Monday and you know what time it is. It's not Hypothetical Monday today, it's just an Ask Boyle. It's Ask Boyle time. So if you have a hypothetical or a question you want to ask, go to the drunk dial on my website, boylecomedy.com. Leave a voice message. Can a couple of you just leave a voice message on there so I know if it works or not? I've been receiving them, but for some reason they're coming out blank. So go to the website, ask a hypothetical or a question, or just yell into it for a little bit so I know if it works or not. Anyway, this week's Ask Boyle was sent in by my man, fucking Davey Maycock, Big Rock Maycock, out there in London. And he just has a very simple question he wants to ask. He just wants to know, has quitting alcohol actually made you a better person? Well, cocky, you have come to the right place. No, it hasn't made me a better person. It takes more work than that. That takes other type of work to become a better person. But I tell you what it has done. It makes the dark side of your personality less attractive to yourself. Like when you're a crazy booze hound, you fuck with your shadow too much. It brings your shadow forward, your dark side. So you indulge in the darkness until the fucking shadow is basically the only thing operating the whole fucking system. But when you stop boozing, more and more of your like good side, the light side, comes out and the shadow shrinks a little bit. But the other thing is, if you replace booze with some other fucking addiction, then the shadow comes back and it grows bigger as well. Not as big as alcohol, because alcohol is like pure fucking ego. I feel like booze brings out your dark side more than any other drug. But if you replace booze with some other addiction, that addiction makes you feel like shit, which brings your shadow side forward, the dark side forward, brings it more to the surface, or it expands. Because one of the temporary cures for feeling like shit is indulging in the dark side. It's some temporary relief. So you indulge in the dark side to get some temporary relief, and then you feel like shit for indulging in your dark side, and it's just a self-feeding system. So you need to break all the addiction cycles to keep that fucking shadow in check, to keep the dark side and the light side even-ish. But no, you just don't automatically become a better person. You just don't fuck with the dark side as much. Becoming an actually better person, a better human being, takes work. Like you need to practice empathy, you need to practice gratitude, you need to practice love, sharing, kindness, all the fucking good virtues. And I haven't been doing a lot of that. I want to. I want to do it against my will. I want to be like a begrudgingly good person. Like I was a begrudgingly sober person. I was like, I don't want to do this. This sucks. But you just continue doing it. I want to like feed the homeless and go, I don't want to be here. You stink. This sucks. Just eat it. Go to the hospital. What am I doing here? Am I helping you cunts? You better be fucking helped here. No, being a good person is like effort. You have to practice it like anything else. Being a bad person, you don't need to practice that. You get the instant gratification from the dark side. That's the little reward you get, which ends up consuming you and killing you. But being a good person is like more of an abstract concept. You're like, oh, I'm going to smile at someone and it will make the whole world a better place because we're all one. What? What kind of bullshit logic is that? Anyway, that's your answer. You don't become a better person just by giving up alcohol, but you do fuck with your dark side less. You're less indulgent. Anyway, big cock, thanks for the question. That'll do for tonight. If you're enjoying the podcast, share it with your friends. I'm going to stop saying that one. That one's getting a little bit old. What should my new plug be? If you're enjoying the podcast, fucking go to my website, do the drunk dial thing, join the Patreon, buy a Fuck Adrian t-shirt, buy some tickets to the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, which starts in 3 weeks, buy some tickets to the Sydney Comedy Festival, which starts in a month. Keep an eye out for Edinburgh, and I'm going to be sorting out gigs in England, Ireland, and wherever else I can sell a few tickets. And after all that, I'll see you the fuck later.